Video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and extremely knowledgeable boys. Thank you for joining us. My name is Tommy Tassilo, and with me, as always...
People have been saying I'm knowledgeable, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm John Wick. Ben Vanel
John
here.
Dickhead, more like. Ben Vanel, yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. For some reason, I felt like, that's your intro done, so I better jump in, but I was wrong to do that.
And officially, this is my intro done.
Hey, Adam Knox time. I came in a little early before, like one of those people in like a school play where the kid walks out and goes, ooh, and looks real scared and has to go back. They've come in on the wrong line. That's me.
You were like the TV show where it like doesn't have any like official time for starting. It's like just whenever MasterChef ends. It's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
meant to be 8:30, but it's more like 8:40, 8:45 kind of thing.
Brother, we don't know what's going to happen with the tennis. We're on when we're on.
Yeah.
We'll see you later tonight.
I was still doing my sentimental walk out of the MasterChef kitchen while music plays.
Yeah. And then I came on like the lower third where they pop up and they're like, hey, join us after this for one of the most annoying fucking shows you could ever imagine. Here I am. Nice to be here. It's been a hell of a week yet again in the world of video games and the world in general, I'm sure. We're recording this on, it's just clocked over to the Wednesday my time. Happy Wednesday, boys.
Happy Wednesday, everyone.
Thank you. Very nice of you. Hey, nice of you to join us here in Wednesday, Adam.
I'm feeling pretty Adamsy over here. It's been another week of Nintendo doing anything but the Switch announcement. It's crazy that they've done it twice in a row with just the strangest things you could imagine.
You could almost set your alarmo to it at this point. Once a week, we're getting a new drop of something that is not the Switch 2. And some people are into and some people are not. And the latest of which is the Nintendo Music app. This was a surprise drop, the Nintendo Music app. It is a collection of music from across Nintendo's storied history. In typical Nintendo fashion, doesn't have everything on it that you would want just yet. Some games and series are going to have their tracks kind of slowly rolled out onto it over time. But yeah, they've never had any of their like OSTs or anything on Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. It's kind of tricky to find like the YouTube links of it. So yeah, having all this stuff in one place is like, it's cool.
I was going to go in there and, say some of the things that were on there, but I have just learned that my old credit card must have been what was set up to use Nintendo Online because you need an active one of the Nintendo Online subscriptions to get this. It's included with that. Yep. But yeah, it's a pretty, well-made app. It all works like an Apple Music or a Spotify pretty closely. Like it feels very, very similar to one of those. Yeah. And has a bunch of fucking bleeping and blooping that you could also get on YouTube unless Nintendo continues to have one. Well, yeah.
They'll probably delete all of that stuff now. And you can like make the tracks loop for a long time as well, like they would in a game. You can make them kind of be sort of continuous. And the one thing that people have noticed that's a bit of a bummer about the app, which I kind of agree with, is that there's no composer information on the app on any of the tracks. So it's all like linked by character and series. But in terms of like... And a lot of like those Mario Kart 8 tracks, they're like full bands and stuff. So there's no list of who played on all of the instruments and who composed all of the stuff available within the app, which is a bit of a shame. It does really make it look like it's more of a thing for a casual, like a kid, But I don't know. It's a bit of a bummer. These people worked hard on this stuff for them to not have the credit within the app.
Yeah, it's the sort of corporate setup they have there, right? Where like they've taken the names off of some of the remasters they've done, right, of people who worked on the original game. And it's, I don't know, I guess a corporate culture thing. But yeah, it's a fun little curiosity to go and, listen to some Dire Docs or whatever the number one hit would be over there. But it's kind of cool.
Are you going to get your I wonder if you're going to be able to get like your Nintendo music wrapped at the end of the year.
Oh,
which game soundtracks you blasted the most on the Nintendo Music app over the year? That would be cool.
that'd be cool. Yeah. I mean, it'd be less cool than anything else they could have announced. But like,
I
it's
reckon
a neat thing.
they've got one more in them. I reckon one more in them before we get the Switch 2 announced. There's going to be one more
misdirect.
weird, random bit of bullshit that no one really wants, and I cannot wait to see what it is.
So what do they do? I mean, alarm clock, music app. These are the two like main functions that people tend to use their phones for, I would say, besides messaging communication.
Oh, good point.
So other than like telecommunications, what would you say the third most used phone app is?
Oh, great question.
Dating.
Calculator.
Oh, yeah.
Calculator and what? Oh, dating.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Nintendo
everyone has
dating
two
app.
wolves inside of them, a calculator and a horny wolf. Calculator, I think, runs much closer to Nintendo's bullshit.
Yeah. Because also we have the Pokemon Sleep app as well. So that's the other thing.
That's true.
That's kind of big with anyone over 30 is sleep monitoring and calculator. Like a notes app where you can put little stickers of Nintendo characters.
You can only write notes about Kirby, and because that's the thing, it'll be some limited bullshit, terrible version.
Yeah, true.
I think the
But
best
well
thing
made
about
and nice looking.
Yeah. And anything you
the-
write in the notes app becomes Nintendo's intellectual property.
yes,
Yeah, if you try to do the text to speech, it just goes wahoo, yap, yap, yap. Does like the Animal Crossing, like. Blah, 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 blah.
I'd actually love that.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this app coming out was that a lot of people were reposting and got reminded of when they were doing all the rollout of the last Smash Brothers game. There was a function in the that they were talking about how in the options screen you'll be able to go and listen to like all the music from that's in the game, which in itself is like this catalog of like the history of Nintendo music. And there was this trailer about how you would be able to put the Switch into sleep mode but still listen to the music while the Switch was in sleep mode. And so they had this video of a person walking around and putting their Switch into their bag with their headphones plugged in to just be able to like listen to the music while they're walking around going about their day. And it, like immediately at the time, everyone went, no one's fucking doing that. Who is going to do this? And so it's just this reminder of like, okay, they've brought the app out because they finally realized that no one is listening to music in the Smash Brothers menu with their Switch on sleep.
Wearing big cargo pants so you can fit it in the pocket.
Yep.
Which, accidentally, you look like the coolest guy in the world.
Yeah.
100%. But they're on one with releasing their apps this week because they've also dropped an app for the Pokemon trading card game.
Well, sort of. The Pokemon company has. This is one of those Pokemon things that's not a Nintendo thing.
Yep.
In a way.
And my friend was saying to me last night, like, oh, it's it's pretty cool that they're like, keeping with the times with like bringing an app out. I'm like, not really. I mean, with the times would have been like 6 years ago. This is like a crazy long time that it's taken them to put the Pokemon trading card game onto phones, but it's here now.
Believe there used to be another one.
I
that
think
just
there
didn't
was.
do very well.
Yeah, I think there was. It wasn't as geared towards because like there were like trading card games and digital trading card games and mobile digital trading card games like 6 years ago, and I think that
Hearthstone was 10 years ago now, and that was the first one I remember being sort of big.
Totally, and this, I think they just put out like, I don't even know if it wasn't set up the way this one is set up, where there's like proper collection animations and like battling and trade. Like, I don't think it was anywhere near what this current one is.
Yeah.
I know I downloaded it at some point, and I cannot remember shit about it, which probably speaks to why I didn't do that well. I think it just wasn't... There was something about it that just wasn't, I don't know, enticing.
Yeah.
In the way that this one actually weirdly is. I've been kind of enjoying this. It's called Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. Mm-hmm. And that means that Pocket is technically in that title twice.
Yeah.
Which does seem to imply that the physical real cards won't fit in a pocket.
They're huge.
They're
I
massive.
don't know if you've seen them lately, but they are enormous.
Oh, it's like inflation. Like the size of the cards have been going up
Yeah.
over the years, but I just haven't
It's like
been checking in. Okay.
Totally. Like the opposite of cream eggs and Pringles. Pokemon cards go
Yeah.
up and up and up in size.
No, you can't fit your goddamn binder in your pocket. Is the point? Remember your binder?
Watch me with my cargo pants.
Oh no! This guy's got the
So-
biggest pants in the world.
The Pokemon trading card game, Pocket, is pretty standard mobile game monetization sort of stuff. If you've played anything like sort of Marvel Snap or similar.
I was wondering about the monetization because, like, yeah, are you buying blister packs? How is it working?
So it's the thing that's worth talking about first because this thing is making money hand over fist already. It's making like $3 million a day apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And it is all geared towards encouraging you to shorten the amount of time it takes to unlock a pack.
You get a
which
pack a
you
day,
can-
right?
You can do all of it for free, yes. Like
Yep.
like your auntie with cigarettes, you get a pack a day.
Yep.
There's a premium pass that gets you... Well, you get 2 packs a day, actually, I'm fairly sure. One every 12 hours, it counts down.
Right.
And you get
And
little
then-
points for like doing certain things, like having collected a certain number of cards or whatever that
Yeah,
will
so-
like add up to shrinking that amount of time down.
There's a premium pass that includes another pack a day, and that's like $15 a month if you want to get that.
Oh, yep. That's pretty
They're-
standard for this kind of thing.
Yes, there are these are all booster packs as well that you get 5 cards each in. It will give you some points for like solo missions, which those missions are like to win a series of like battles against the AI is one set of them, and then there's like logging in every day will get you some points.
Yep.
And there are different currencies for like different elements of the thing, like the booster packs to shorten the time. You use these hourglasses that are bought with these shop tokens. There's a lot.
And it does go real like heroin dealer mode when you first turn it on. I think you get something like 6 packs or something in
You
the
get
first.
a ton.
Yeah, where
Right.
it's like showing you, hey, now let's open another one. And generally what you would do is you would need these little points to shorten the time. But like, let's just give you 5 of them now, just hypothetically
Oh,
to just kind of see
boy.
what. So you build up like maybe I think like when you first turn it on, you end up with like something like 30 cards or something, which then is like the number that you need to start battling. So it kind of does a good thing of when you first turn it on of like getting you in the zone and kind of showing you like everything that's on the app in one little
And you
section.
get like probably about 150 cards just off the bat with how much stuff is easy to get.
Yep.
So like all
Oh,
those
yeah.
missions are like collect, a Pikachu, a Bulbasaur and a Squirtle and a Charmander, and that'll get you something. And like little things like that.
Right.
And then you beat all of those missions, which are all quite easy to fight against the AI things. And there's a limited amount of that. And then once you've sort of exhausted all of that stuff, which doesn't take that long, that's when it starts going like, bet you'd like to open more packs, wouldn't you?
Oh, the grind.
You want to wait 12 hours? You only live once. It's quite a long time. And
Yeah.
so you can buy gold, which will also allow you to shorten time. And that's the real currency thing. Because, my one sort of quibble at this point with it, because like you can get it all for free and you can, if you're patient, you're able to get plenty of cards. It's fine. But you need the good ones to build good decks. There are certain cards that you just are better than others. Really, it's not super balanced in some ways. I think because like the luck of the draw when you're battling is like you don't know what type of deck they're going to have and all of that. But then there are some cards that I'm seeing come out that are just like really pretty devastatingly good,
Right.
Right.
and they're the rarer ones typically.
And are you battling against other people or is it all
Yes.
AI? Okay.
So
okay.
then that is the other mode, is that you can battle people online. But my issue with that is that it doesn't give you anywhere near enough reward for participating in that. You
Right.
get,
Yeah,
so another
it's a
one
bit
of
of
the
an
sort of
afterthought.
yes, another one of the sort of currencies is experience points. You get 15 of those for winning an online battle, and it's something like 500 to go up a level by the time
Right.
you get to like 15 or whatever. Those numbers wouldn't be exactly right, but something like that. And you get nothing if you lose, Willy Wonka style.
Right.
So you just aren't incentivized to battle much.
Yeah,
because
it's definitely more weighted towards the like you're building up this binder and like when you get a new card, it kind of shows them like slapping down on the like the right like spot on the page. The whole
and all
thing
of those
of
animations and stuff are super satisfying. Like all of the
Right.
cards
Yeah.
tearing open and whipping around and all of that like is really
for a thing that's wanting you to kind of chase that dopamine of wanting to pay to open more packs. That's maybe the one thing about the presentation that I think is good. The like it'll be like a little pack is there, you swipe across the top of it to like rip the foil off. It feels they've got that down like pat. That feels great. Everything else about the app is just like, I don't know, it's just it's way too clinical. It's so like there's no like fun or joy in the you're like, this is like a kid's this is like fun little monster. It feels like
100%.
It feels like a blood pressure monitor. There's like there's no riz to it. It's like it's such a shame.
It's a little unresponsive. Like it's just that bit too slow to sort of change the tabs between like, your collection and the deck building bit and whatever. And then like it just looks like you're booking a doctor's appointment.
And that carries through to the battling feeling like a bit of an afterthought. You think about something like a Marvel Snap that's got like the music changes tempo and the like effects of cards slamming down is so exciting. And this is like, not that they have to go like crazy with animations and stuff, but it's like this is meant to be like a representation of like Pokemon battling. There should be like kind of something going on, some sort of like flavor to the look of the screen rather than just this like white that the cards are sitting on. Like
they're a little dull, and like the cards themselves and everything sort of around them is great. The cards look awesome, and the art, which is taken from the real cards, is really nice mostly. And then I completely agree. Like the music is annoying and it like not very good. It's not even annoying. It's just boring. It's just really boilerplate sort of stuff. Like they don't have anything like the battle themes in the Pokemon games are like really good music generally.
Yeah, you've got like what 20 something years worth of like flavor to draw from, and then to just make this thing that is like it feels like a feels like a beta before they've like put all that stuff on where they're like doing the bug testing.
Well, and it might be that that's sort of the case because you can do some stuff to your cards, like one of the things that it will encourage you to buy is like different card backs and different play mats and all that sort of stuff, which you also earn through doing missions around those things. And it's already updated a couple of times with different little time limited events and stuff. And it's pretty easy to get the stuff, at least at this point early on.
I do think the thing with something like Marvel Snap, which is like, I guess a good recent comparison, is I think it was in early access for like a year or something, around that. And it was pretty different to the incredibly like finely tuned and very interactive and expressive and animated version of the app that it is now. It feels like they've just decided to go, hey, we're going to put this out. We're going to start making millions of dollars from it. Philosophically, it'll be early access and we'll start updating it.
We'll add that stuff as it goes,
It is a wild thing to potentially do to something that like people are paying for, paying for specific things and paying for bonuses and paying for like the battle pass. I guess there's just got to be a disclaimer of like, hey, anything that you pay money for may change in the future, which is not
I think
great.
This as compared to Marvel Snap, which was the last like good one of these sorts of things. And to be clear, I'll get to like the actual playing of it, which we've not really talked about because the whole meat of what this wants you to engage with is the collecting aspect. A lot more so. But that runs counter to the fun of building a deck, which in Marvel Snap, you kind of felt like you had all the tools pretty early on. I don't remember ever feeling with that thing like, I need to earn this card or I'm useless. I'm nothing.
I think, the thing with Snap was and it's only online play. There was no AI play, which was kind of a drawback, but it would only match you with people who are in the same pool of cards, which, you get that beginner pool of cards or access to it, and you're whipping through them. You're collecting them pretty rapidly.
This is kind of the Wild West where it's just like there's a like, I forget the terms, but I think it might be beginner, but it's basically like unranked, and then there's ranked. Pretty much.
Yeah, and I guess the problem with this is that as compared to Marvel Snap is that with this they're pulling from these real cards that do exist as a real collectible card game.
Right.
And so like the way that you would match up with people, like, you know, it is just like, well, if I've got the best deck, that's an advantage. And if I'm playing against someone, you're not going to have a ranked thing, you know, based on that. Whereas with Marvel Snap, they've been able to kind of like build all that from the ground up and be like, well, this card should only exist for players at this level and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Totally. And I think the Pokemon card game, they've done a good job of translating it to this sort of quicker format that they've made here. So from memory of being much younger, it's basically halved from the normal. The amounts of everything are halved. So instead of having 5 Pokemon on your bench, you've got 3. And I know that's not half, but and like so in the card game, when you knock out one of their Pokemon, you would get a like prize card, of which I believe there were 6. But this time it's just you get 3 points. If you get 3 points, then you win.
I was talking about this yesterday with a friend who's also been playing it, and we were talking about how we both played the card game when we were kids and how that got us into Magic the Gathering. And our other friend that was with us was like, oh, I used to love Magic. And we were like, really? I wouldn't have picked that of you. And then the conversation went for another 10 minutes before we realized that she was talking about like abracadabra magic, not magic.
Oh, so Pokemon. Abracadabra. I had the exact same experience of going from Pokemon to Magic the Gathering by finding there was a Magic the Gathering phone card game, downloading it, seeing that it wanted you to play in landscape mode and going, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
So the game itself is like pretty fun. It's so simple and straightforward. You send a Pokemon out, you get 1 energy every turn that you can attach to a Pokemon. That the number of energy they have attached lets them do their attacks, and you can evolve them, and you're dealing damage to each other and attacking, and it's a good time. The strategy though comes in the deck building. You have 20 cards in your deck, and like I say, the deck building feels a little bit limited until your collection is buffed, because you can have up to 2 of any card in there as well. So if you have 2 rare Charizards, you got a good fucking deck. You know what I mean? So
okay.
Right.
It's a collecting game before it's a battling game, which is a bit of a shame, because the battling is kind of fun, and I wish there were more reason to do it beyond for the fun of it, which I know sounds silly, because what else is a game if not just for the fun of it? But the rewards are so low, and the grind to get what you might want to make a deck you're thinking of is so long because of that it does make it a bit of a slog. But as a little thing you check every day when you're shitting, bit of fun.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking of showing this to, so Lauren's nephew is like super into Pokemon cards at the moment, and I was thinking of showing this to him and then just like absolutely fucking up his parents' life. But I,
Get them on a current affair of one of those, like the $20,000 shock fund. Blah, blah, blah.
But then I was thinking about it and I was like, there is something about it that's a little bit of a shame, because he collects the cards. Lauren, we were in a shop in Thailand, and she got him like a bunch of packets that were just like clearly knockoffs, but it's like, he's like 6, he doesn't care. And he like plays the game, but like it's his version of it that he's just like made up, where it's like basically just dealing cards one at a time, and whoever gets the one that's got like the bigger number on it, like they win.
Right.
And I was kind of like, yeah, I mean, that's way cooler that he's at this point where he's like, doesn't care if he's getting a packet of knockoff ones. He's like, oh, cool, I got a new little one I don't have. And he's like able to invent his own version of the game. I was like, yeah, let him have that. That's way more fun than being on this app that's like a really regimented, like, no, here's how you fucking play it.
And we're really going to get into your psychology and make you feel embarrassed that you don't have as many cards as the other kids. Yeah.
Right,
My nephew's still into like the 8 of clubs and ace of spades and all of that, so he's
Hell
fine.
Yeah.
But like, it's I do find it like a decent starting point too. Like they'll obviously, as with these sorts of games, it will change and be a live service, an ongoing thing. And I think if they're able to make the battles mean a little bit more, and there's a trading feature that isn't in there yet that they'll bring in, and maybe that'll make for something interesting on the sort of collecting front.
Yeah.
But at this point,
there are already a couple aspects that I'm hearing that are kind of stuff I wished was in Marvel Snap. Like trading is a huge one. You get so many, like, because like you can split the cards and you have like these other versions that have like the backgrounds and shit. But you'll often end up with several of those.
Yeah, it's like that. You can eat up your like extra cards to like make special glamours for you, for your other versions. But
yes, you'll basically end up with like triplicates or even more. And it's like, I wish that I could do something with this card that's in my collection. There's a few aspects to it. Yeah, even just like being able to have two of the same card in your actual deck that you're playing with is like a fun aspect.
And I think like the choice to like the trainer cards, which like, you know, let you draw other cards and whatever, you just buy them in the shop with currency that is pretty readily available and that sort of stuff, where they're the most useful cards, like putting them just like, no, you can just have these. Don't fuck around with like waiting. But yeah, building a deck takes a long time because getting things takes a long time because the battling doesn't give you much. But even if it did, the building a deck takes a long time. So there's this weird sort of circle that you kind of can't get into that loop. And it's deliberately so because it lets you in for the first bit. I think that's the thing. Like for the first bit when it's giving you more than it normally will, and it's got those single player missions and there's a lot more to do for like 2 or 3 hours. It's really fun and it's an engaging loop and the battles are fun and it's snappy and it's quick and the opening the packs is really a good time. When it kind of pulls the rug out and goes like, but now it's going to slow down a lot and that's because we reckon you'll pay us to speed it back up.
Yeah.
It sucks a bit of the air out of it.
Wouldn't it be nice to have another pack a day? It's just $15 a month.
Yeah.
Just
and the app was free.
And it gives you 2 weeks of that for free as well.
Yeah.
So like,
it did just make me wish that there was a remaster of the Pokemon trading card Game Boy game that they did, where it's basically an RPG where you're going around. It just basically is Pokemon, but you're playing with little cards instead of the real things. I was like, I'd just rather play that.
It's a great game. And this is kind of that when it's kind of working and then it makes itself not work well to get you into its kind of grind economy, which I hope changes with the trading thing. And I hope they balance out over time because I'm sure I'm not the only one who's like, oh, this is so slow that I will forget about this app at some point.
Yeah.
Hey, but maybe that's for the best. Maybe we should forget about every app.
Yeah. Hey, there'll be people who will pay way too much money for it. We can all forget about it.
Yeah. 16 hours of screen time on Nintendo Music.
Oh yeah. If you don't like the music in in that app, you can just have Nintendo Music cranking in the background.
That's true.
Good
I've
point.
not even done them together yet. This is peanut butter and chocolate.
You could have Smash Brothers on your Nintendo Switch playing in the background.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, that's not
and a bunch
reasonable.
of real life cards in the other side of my cargo pants. That's the real shit.
Well, I didn't go in on this yet. I probably will, and it probably will eat up millions of hours of my time. But something that I was only allowed to play for a couple of days is that new Monster Hunter game.
Who stopped you after a couple of days?
The beta closed.
Yeah, I know, but it's like,
funny answer. funny answer.
Why'd the chicken cross to get to the other side?
Yeah. Okay, that
because he
makes
wanted
sense.
to get to the other side.
Why people do it? Yeah.
I guess it's that's a joke format.
What is this stupid ass game called? Monster Hunter fucking World?
What?
Wilds.
Yeah, World was the other one.
What was the one that I played? Yes, I never played.
Yes.
Rise, the Nintendo exclusive.
They love their short, similar sounding words to chuck on. It's out on everything now, Rise. But yeah, Wilds is coming to PS5, to Xbox, and to the personal computer in February of next year. They put the beta out, like you said, over the weekend to sort of test the online and stuff. And let me tell you, this thing needs more time in the oven.
Does it really?
Put her back. She ain't done yet.
Really?
I saw someone in our Discord, I believe, posting about how they'd had a bit of a rough time of it on their PC, and there was a bit of a meme going around of like people going up against these incredibly low polygon monsters.
It's a complete bug that is like a level of detail thing and I'm not drawing in, but I had that too with some of the people in the village, and it runs like shit on the PC. Like it's much too demanding and in a way that doesn't make sense for how it looks.
So it's a programming problem. Because I played it on the PS5 and nothing, no problems at all. Looked gorge, played great. And I had a fucking great time with it. I forgot how much I loved this game loop. And it does a few things. Like it incorporates some of the it's not the wire bug, but it's like your little slingshot. You're like picking up items and shit like that as you're like going along. You've got to basically
You've got like a hook shot where you can kind of like lasso rocks that are constantly overhanging bizarre parts of the world.
And you have a
Indiana
chocobo.
Jones.
You have a little chocobo
kinda.
guy now, which you can like auto. It just rides to the next location, to the next quest marker or whatever, and that is pretty cool as well because it's doing some like traversal, like vertical stuff. It's climbing around and it's allowing you to be like looking for items and doing all of that stuff.
It's really useful for like, you can jump on the back of it and outrun a monster while you're like using your whetstone to sharpen your blade back up, or having a little potion to recover your health. And so if you've never played Monster Hunter before, guess what you're doing? You're fucking hunting monsters.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason, the names of these monsters are one of the most difficult things for my brain to latch onto and remember. But you're fighting something. There's something like a capybara. That's not the name, but it's a word like that.
It's like a chatacabra or a chapacabra.
Chatacabra sounds right.
Yeah, because chupacabra
It's a big
is a
frog
thing.
looking
yeah,
thing.
it's a
Sort
big
of frog
toad.
gorilla.
Yeah. And like you get a bit of like a weird in media res opening where you're like zooming around the desert and there's like sandworms chasing you, and then there's a little kid. You're gonna save the kid.
Shashasunda? I don't remember the name of those sandworms.
No,
and then there's
neither.
like a big lion thing,
Yep.
and then there's a big sort of dragon bird thing.
Yeah.
Those were the monsters to hunt in the beta, which, the PC version is, and both versions are older builds of the game from like a few months ago, apparently.
Right.
And this was mainly to test the online services and stuff like that. So I'm going to hold out hope that it's a little better optimized by the time it comes out, because I agree, it's super fun. Like, it's just such a straightforward and simple thing with the good amount of depth underneath to sink your teeth into if you're so inclined, where like every weapon feels pretty different from one another.
Yeah.
And there were like 16 of them or something.
I think 14 to open up. Yeah.
18, 150.
And
a good mix of like, it's pretty widely known, like this is the one or the two to kind of pick one of if you're like a beginner.
Yeah.
They're pretty like good for learning with, and then up to your upper range of like, these are just basically impossible to use. But if you want to, land some fucking big kills.
Yes.
Get good at this.
Super like a fighting game or something where like if you get good at any of them, they're so satisfying to use, and the simpler ones as well, like the great sword and all of that, just really satisfying, weighty feeling, slappy combat. That like has been improved in like not revolutionary ways, for as much as they were like, it's a big open world and here's the nature and blah blah blah. Like, the world is still pretty similar to what it was in the other ones when it was more segmented. And even in World, you're kind of running around where, like, it's not open world in the sense that you're, like, going out into the wilderness and there's a guy there who's like, hey, get me 5 eggs or whatever.
Right.
But it like, the thing of there being more monsters roaming around just feels nice, and walking around in that is cool. And then the combat has, like, had this one extra wrinkle added to it, which is, what is it called? Focus mode?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Which is basically just it lets you aim at any time with any of the weapons, which, like, part of what Monster Hunter's always had is, like, this really, once you're doing it, you're doing that attack in that direction you were pointing in, and fuck you. If you were off a little bit because, you're a human being and maybe you're not able to use all of your motor functions exactly as you would want to all of the time.
Once you're swinging a giant sword, there's physics involved.
But you can sort of adjust that a lot more easily with this thing now in a way that doesn't feel like it's, I have to use this all of the time. And that's really cool. I like that addition.
I can't remember, because there's also, you can hold, I think, like L1 and attack, and you'll automatically go for the area that's already been wounded, that's already a weak spot. So there's I don't know if they're all new, because I didn't play much of Rise at all. But yeah, I definitely felt that. Like, it's not like it takes away the challenge, because it's still, you've got to beat down this monster and get it to where it's running off to its nest. You got to follow it up, and you got to coordinate. You can bring in like like online co-op, or you can bring in like AI characters. I think if there's like not enough people around, maybe that happens. Yeah,
if it can't like connect to someone, then it'll just give you an AI dude,
right?
Which is kind of the way the whole world is going now too. We're in bloody her, man.
But all that stuff is great, and there's still like a lot of complexity to it. And yeah, like you said, you can bump up the complexity by choosing some weird ass crossbow instead of like a sword and a shield, like.
And if you're better at aiming the old-fashioned way, go ahead and do it. It's similar to how Street Fighter had those new controls, where like all it's really removing is this like real-world mechanical, repetitive skill that you had to learn. That I don't think is necessary to the enjoyment of the main flow of the combat, which in Monster Hunter's case is like about positioning and like making sure you're out of the way of where the monster's going to be attacking at the right time, and it's about timing in that way and knowing when to attack in a window, and that stuff isn't affected at all by being able to aim in a slightly different way. But also it takes it takes away your ability to run around and move because you're aiming with the stick now too. So there's a cost benefit thing.
I didn't get to go in on this. I missed the window. But what I, just from hearing you guys talk about it, what I really like about Capcom... What I really like about...
that. They hit the window, and if they were missing the window, that'd be a good thing. Never mind. Ignore me. Delete that.
But then they'd be inside the house, and they'd be fluttering around the roof, and you'd be like, there's a bird inside.
Okay, like someone who's had to move into solitary confinement in prison. They've missed the window.
I really like
Glad
the
we
way...
got out of that hole.
I really like the way Capcom, they're very good at, like, you know, they have these franchises where they'll iterate just, like, very slightly on it. Like, I think they're really good at knowing, like, the people that are super into these franchises, they don't want them touched too much. You don't want a game to come out that's just, like, exactly the same as the predecessor, but they do have, like, they keep things mostly the same. And the little things that they add or tweak or change are just these, like... like enough for it to, like, if you're a deep head, you feel like you're getting something new, but you are still getting like the base experience that you really like. I think they're really good at just like knowing just the sweet spot, the minimal amount to play with it.
You can have your soy garlic, you can have your sweet chili, but at the end of the day, you're a fried chicken fan, and that's why you're coming here. Like,
but yeah, it also means that you don't lose all of that experience, like actual, like personal experience you've built up playing these games over the years. You still have that edge from having played them for so long. And yeah, I was a big fan of World. I played a lot of it, but it has been a pretty long time in between drinks. And I felt it took a little bit to remember, like, oh, that's right. Like, yeah, there's a certain, like you say, once you commit to that swing, then you're committed. You have to not, overextend yourself. But like it was pretty quick to get back into the flow of it, and to remember, like, it is so satisfying to eventually, like, get that one hit in that staggers them, and that you're slicing
and
up
not having the health bar, and you just So it is. I think that's because I got really into Rise, and the thing that they'd added to that was the little wire bugs, which were. Great for traversal, but the main thing about them, which I think made it that little bit more approachable for newer people, is that you could get up a lot quicker. If you got knocked down, you could use a little wire bug to throw yourself back up. And I think for me in the past, that had been such a bottleneck point for me, where I would just... My kind of switch off point was like, I just would find it so frustrating to just not have the health bar, get like... thrown away, and it take like ages for your character to get back up. I just kind of always found that a little bit frustrating. So even having that mitigated a little bit, and then kind of that giving me a bit more freedom with movement, and then realizing that like what I found as a frustration about the monsters not having a health bar actually being like, no, this rules. It is so satisfying when you then land that blow and it just goes down, and you had no idea that was going to be the moment. Like,
totally. And building a game around boss fights is cool and fun. Yeah. And like, the couple of little tweaks they've made in this, like the sort of aiming mode thing, the ability to ride your horse bird thing, Velociraptor, which like lets you move around the monsters quicker, and it's not immediate to get onto. You've got to kind of whistle for it, and it takes a second, so you can't just like hop on and be running rings around them all the time. But then you can leap off of that thing onto their back, and there's just cool things in here that I think the fair number of new monsters that it seems like there's going to be in here too that aren't just like old series regulars or whatever will, you'd imagine, make use of those new mechanics in fun ways. And I really hope that they get it up to scratch on the PC at least, to be not sort of a technical shame.
Yeah. Do you remember off the top of your head how those other ports of the other ones went?
I believe World wasn't great at launch, and the thing that has me worried is more Dragon's Dogma, which was kind of fucked. Dragon's Dogma 2, and that's using the like RE engine that this is using as well, and I think maybe just is not really built with these sorts of environments and big open worlds in mind, possibly.
Yeah,
so
right.
we'll see how they do.
I mean, Rise would have been fine, but that's because they were porting essentially a Switch game.
Yeah,
Totally. And on the Switch, it kind of wasn't, right? So
yeah.
But we'll see about that. But yeah, who knows? They've got a little bit more time, and this build was quite old already, apparently, and people have reported from seeing newer ones that it's gotten better. But it's super fun, and I'm looking forward to playing with my little video games.
Well, you can play a whole bunch of new little video games in 2025 on your Playdate. You can get that.
Oh yeah,
get that crank moving. Did you bring the Playdate over to the UK? Could you fit it in your suitcase?
I genuinely did. It's small enough that I was just like, why wouldn't I? They've got to be putting out that fucking little desk speaker thing soon.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, MIA. But they announced a new. They've been pretty good about like their shop front. I'm on their mailing list, and they pretty regularly they're sending updates, kind of spotlighting new stuff that's on there. So it kind of seemed like maybe they wouldn't bother, and they just would be treating it more like a platform where stuff is going up every now and then for a couple bucks at a time or whatever. But yeah, they've got a new season of games similar to the one that the batch that it launched with, and this will be fun because I think like pretty much people not everyone but like everyone's kind of going to get this season sort of at the same time that already has a play date because they were so staggered with the rollout of the console in the first place that
totally that week by week thing never really happened for people as an experience or whatever, but they haven't said any real details other than 2025, but no idea of the price or like the number of games or any of that sort of pretty
who's
key
involved
stuff. But you'd imagine it'd be a similar number of games to the first season if they're calling it a season 2, and I can't imagine it making sense for them to charge more than what like a regular game would cost.
Actually,
which is like 60-70 American.
Apparently, The Verge, I'm reading The Verge's article on it. There was a live stream, and the company
I've read that had sex before, so I wouldn't have seen this news.
Interesting. They said that it'll probably feature about a dozen games. So that's
Is that how many were in the first pack? I don't remember.
There's 24 in the first pack.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right. And that was... That was 2 a week. I think that was 2 at a time, right? So it's probably over the same amount of time, but maybe 1 a week. Yeah.
I mean, if it could be that it's 12 weeks and maybe 2 a week again, because I think it would be sort of disappointing to, I mean, whatever, but like to have half the number from the first season might be a bit. If they're going to charge, like, I'd imagine this would cost a full price game. If it costs like $30 or whatever, then who cares? But. I don't know. I'm inventing a world to be mad at, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, cool. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm excited to potentially kind of have everyone have that experience of what the what the whole idea of the first season was meant to be, of like everyone's kind of getting it on the same day. You've got like a bigger community of people to like chat with about it. Like, could be fun.
Speaking of having an experience that a lot of people didn't get to have.
Yes.
Do you remember Halo 2? The hit Beyonce sequel?
Oh, that I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Halo 2, big video game. 20 years old now. And for the 20th anniversary, I guess, they're putting out... So E3 was massive in the early 2000s, obviously. It was the big thing. And the Halo 2 sort of demo was one of the biggest E3 things I can remember. It was like this huge, early... You can get videos online, cool looking like, whoa, he's got 2 guns. Master Chief's here.
Yep.
They're putting that level, which was never actually in the game, out on the PC only, and seemingly only on Steam through the Steam Workshop. So like Game Pass won't get it. It doesn't seem like kind of weird. Right. But yeah, a little mod that adds that E3 demo, which is like a cool little piece of history to have.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Popping up there.
This is, I mean, you don't get this kind of thing anymore of like something being shown off at something like E3, and like by the time the game comes out, it's just completely different. Like
it
doesn't really happen anymore.
And for the best, because like part of why it happened that way is because of like the horrible crunch type stuff that they like basically had to build the game and make this level just to show something. It wasn't ready. The game was nowhere near ready, and they had to have something, and so they basically made an entire game just to show at E3 that was like, there's a documentary about it that came with like the collector's edition of Halo 2, which is so crazy to look back on, and like that whole documentary is just about how miserable they all were making this game. Then you just bought the collector's edition of it. They're like, yeah, it kind of ruined my fucking life having to make this game. But
I'd love to see like an anthology kind of collection that's all of the like E3 the Conker's Bad Fur Day before
like
they turned
Atari
him into
50 sort of thing. That would fucking
the Conker demo before they made him into a little potty mouth adults only game. That that Zelda demo to show off the GameCube one that that then became Wind Waker, but it was like a really serious, like kind of high res looking version of Zelda.
The Half-Life 2 demo that they showed like before someone stole that game from their servers, and they changed a bunch of shit that had like, you know, stained glass and physics and stuff, and everyone. I remember watching a video that was recorded in a room with like journalists reacting. They were like, "Whoa!"
This would be a cool game. Awesome. So it's like the UFO 50 thing where it's like you found the old computer. This is you're at E3 in like 1999 and you're walking around the show floor like playing the demos of all of these games on the units.
I would fuck that game. And marry it and kill myself if I couldn't be with it. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, that would rule. This is the like Disney and Warner Brothers like playing ball with each other so they could have Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You get everyone together and it's like, now look, I know we're all competitors, but this is just too good of an idea to not have us all sign off and get the licenses happening.
We got to be tripartisan about this.
Yeah.
I want to see like the unreleased tech demos as well, because like remember they did the 3D version of Final Fantasy VI for the Nintendo 64.
Yes,
that kind of shit. That kind of like the weird sort of prototypes, I guess. Yeah.
Well, baby, you can live this dream if you simply purchase the PC Steam version of Halo the Master Chief.
All right.
This is the first steps.
I hope it comes to the Game Pass versions and like the Xbox version and all of that, but we'll see.
Yeah, kind of weird to not have it on there, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just easiest to put it on the workshop thing.
Yeah.
And that demo at the time was like, you know, held together by fucking duct tape. So they've obviously had to kind of go in and like do some work on this 20-year-old demo to even get it to a point where it won't just crash if you turn left at the wrong time or whatever. Speaking of crashing, I guess, crash is sort of a harsh word like strike.
Oh,
What my thinking was. The Wordle for today, 5 letters, it's union.
Yes.
New York Times workers, the tech workers in particular, there's like 600 of them or something as well, which is like a huge number of people for, I guess all magazines are just websites now, but there's a lot of tech people there. They're striking and have encouraged people not to like play Wordle or the mini crossword or whatever, and it adds a solidarity thing to show some numbers.
It's going to be tough. Which I think it's a hell of a habit that everyone who plays these has to tap in every single day, do your little things, tick them off. But it's like a very, very easy and very low effort, but a potentially effective thing to support these people who are making and supporting, you know, in the back end, these extremely popular games.
I mean, what a time to do it with, like, as of time of recording while the election is literally taking place.
Yeah.
You know, good on them.
Good on them.
Luck.
Support your fellow union people.
If you make one more fucked connections, though, then I am crossing that picket line. If there is one more dumbass one about emojis or whatever, I'm gonna fucking.
If they include
I'm gonna undercut you.
The word "blow" to indicate the gear low on an automatic transition, We're out.
That's it. We're making only be pushed so far.
I love how deeply entrenched that is in our law now. I saw someone the other day post a thing about how they go on the connections thing and they don't even like play it. They're just like, I just like to get on and have a little reminder that all these different items exist out in the world. Just really makes me
16
feel
words, huh? Really makes you think.
Wow.
ladle. Yeah, soup is a thing.
Speaking of 16, I believe that is 2/3 of the amount of mainline Call of Duty games that have existed.
Oh, yeah.
And according to this Google Doc, I'm looking at your pink little cursor darting around in, Ben.
Yes.
I think you might have played, as you've written it, COD Bop 6.
That's right. And that's correct, isn't it? That is the right one that I played.
I think people call it Blops for some reason, which it shouldn't be. You're right. Like, it's Black Ops, but even Ops is just the full word there, but whatever. People call it Blops for some reason.
It does. They both sound like some really good British slang, don't they? Oh, look at the cod blops on her.
Or him.
She's got 6 of them.
Yes, I played Call of Duty Black Ops 6. I've played, like 3 or 4 missions. I've started getting the team together. I've started upgrading the base. And that shit's all fun. Like, I'm enjoying it. The fucking dialogue is the dumbest shit ever. Like, it's so stupid, boiled down, the absolute bare minimum of, like, what a soldier in an action movie would say. But the mission design is fun. What you're doing is fun. You're taking little pics, you're sneaking around, you're silently taking down guys. And then they're chucking in a fun, like, chase, escape set piece into a lot of the missions too. Yeah, it's fun. I'm not expecting fucking, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy from the themes, but
To tops.
to tops, yeah, I'm not expecting to tops, and I'm getting blops, and I think
Yeah.
we can all agree.
like,
don't have the it's delivering what it promises. I'm not
totally. I think I agree with you, but it's also kind of like going like, this popcorn's not very nutritious. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
like it so fits in with the goofy tone of that thing that it's almost charming in a weird way, where it is just like, hey, Woods, hey, this guy, hey, whatever. And as you go further in, like, you can chat to them more and they do more of it. But the sort of Mission Impossible vibe with, like these meatheads is a goofy Gears of War good time.
It's like it's CTE Mission Impossible. Like, it's a few blows to the head, but yeah, it's fun. I've just got to a bit where they're talking about Saddam Hussein, and I'm like, oh, that's right. Like, this is
You literally
weird.
participate in Operation Desert Storm.
Yeah.
During this game. It's bizarre.
And there's always, you can step back and be like, oh, that's right. Like, this is funded by the US military. I'm sure you could easily get swept up in the hoorah of it, but it's also like so stupid that's not really a risk.
Nothing wrong with enjoying a bit of sloppy bloppy,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not like, they come and go, and I have more and less of a problem with it year on year or whatever, depending on the one. I don't think this one is as hoorah as they can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Modern Warfare 3 and 2 were like, these soldiers are superheroes. But this one's like, these are like dirtbag spy guys or whatever who are like fuckheads.
Yeah. And there's like private military, and there's like a bunch of people. Everyone's doing basically the wrong thing, and it is kind of presented that way too. So it's not. But yeah, it is really fun. It like looks fucking incredible. I'm playing it on the PS5. Haven't done any multiplayer. I'm just making my way through that single player campaign, which like you said, it's very Mission Impossible. It's very fun. Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I'm holding up to the camera, if you're not watching the video version, a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 branded can of Monster Energy.
Yes.
And that's not a Freudian slip. There is one called Mother back home. But
yes. Monster is mothering.
Yeah. I'm holding a can of Kill My Father Energy. And I've been playing a bit more of the multiplayer, and I'm having an all right time with it. The maps aren't very good. It's a decent switch your brain off. And that the thing of switching your brain off is always an insane thing to want to do, but B, underselling it. It's more like meditative, I would say, than switching your brain off.
It's relaxing. It's choosing to relax, basically.
Yeah.
One of the parts of my life that I struggle with.
But yeah, I certainly am finding, because I've been playing some more Metaphor, been playing some Black Myth Wukong, and like a few other things that are like tough or complex, and this has been almost, it's been my cheeseburger of the week. Like it's been a nice, easy, relaxing game. Just and like despite being also exciting and fun and action packed. So like
Ben's cheeseburger of the week.
It is my play of the day. And I think
fourth cheeseburger of the week.
Like you said last week, like it is probably better than a lot of them have been in the past few years. Like I even played the previous one of this and was like, oh yeah, it was okay. This I'm finding much more easy to get into and much more fun to play.
Cool.
I think the fact that there are so few straight up first person shooter campaign type games as well, like makes it sort of stand out in a unbelievably strange way where like saying stand out and Call of Duty years ago would have been like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, times are strange. I've been playing, speaking of times, just to quickly, I'm coming up towards the end of Metaphor.
Oh wow.
Nice.
He's done it.
I'm going to have that thing wrapped up by Game of the Year, and let me tell you, good thing too.
Yeah. I need to go back in.
Still.
I've been playing a little bit of. I've only played a very little bit of this, but it's in early access at the moment. It's called Windblown. It is the new game from the makers of Dead Cells. A studio called Motion Twins Basil, and it's basically Hades. It's roguelike, isometric, top down. You're hacking and slashing. You're getting your weapons. You're going on runs. You got your big dash move, which is also your dodge. It's a
little different visually than I was expecting. It's kind of like not cutesy, but it's like very vibrant and bright colors, and
it's a little furry.
Yeah,
I'll say that about it. It's a little furry coated.
Okay.
But I really like. I think that's kind of why it leapt out to me, is that it just has like a bit of a different look and feel than this kind of genre typically does.
Sure.
It's got your little overworld that it's like a lot of these kinds of games. It's got like a sort of in-world reason for why you're able to die and be regenerated and, back at this base where you're, doing your little upgrades and stuff, and then jumping into this vortex to go into this world. But it's fun. It's like, I think it's only just come out in early access, and they'll probably be working on it and tinkering on it for a fair bit. I mean, I know it's a different studio, but like Hades was in early access for like ages, right? That was
a year.
Hades 2 is in early access right now as well. So.
Right.
Yeah. So this method of like kind of rolling it out pretty early and taking on the feedback, it does kind of seem to really be a good technique for, building hype and like really ironing out the bugs. But it doesn't feel, it doesn't really feel. There's a couple of little things so far that it doesn't really like explain yet. You just kind of hit a bit where it's like, oh, this is clearly meant to be a bit more of a thing that's maybe like not quite there yet. But overall, the feeling of like the moving around and the combat and all that kind of stuff, which is like so key to this, type of game. It's all there. It feels really responsive. I never played Dead Cells, but I do know that people, really lost a lot of time to that game. That was that always gets held up as like one of the top kind of, like the peak of this type of game. It seems like from what I understand of people who are like super, super into this genre and were super into Dead Cells, it does seem like they've got another good thing on their hands here. So I'm enjoying it. I'm keen to play a bit more of it and sort of see how they tinker with it over time. I apparently, you can play it
over time.
Yeah. You can play it co-op, which is apparently a lot of fun, which I'd be keen to do at some point. Get a little crew together. But yeah, check it out. Windblown.
All right.
Sweet.
Windblown.
Looks cool. It
Yep.
does look a lot like Hades. It looks like Hades with bisexual lighting, basically.
Yeah, totally. It's
yeah, I
very Euphoria High Hades.
Sick.
Yeah, cool. There's some games.
There are some games.
That's
Reckon
the
we talked
week in
about some
games.
there, to be honest. Yeah, there's I'm really hoping because Metal Slug Tactics came out today.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, it's on Game Pass as well, day one. So I'm hoping
Cool.
I'm going to give that a little wiggle, and I'm really hoping that by the time the next episode comes out, Rise of the Gold, I'll have had time to play Rise of the Golden Idol. Comes out on the 12th, which I don't know yet, but that's out real soon.
Yeah.
Plenty more games coming out. Plenty of games have come out in the past. It really does make you think.
Games to the left of me, games to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with more games.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do us for this week, guys. Thank you very
Where
much
was that
for...
guy?
Who?
Where he was surrounded by clowns and jokers.
I guess
Addison-
he
They're on
was-
either side of each other. Were they going to fight?
He could have
The
been at
Jets
a
and the
costume
Sharks?
party.
Yeah.
Of just clowns and jokers?
Yeah, I mean, what does
Good enough for me.
what does he consider to be the point of difference between a clown and a joker?
Whether or not they hit on their tech.
Yeah.
But Pagliacci, I said no. All right, that is going to do us for this week. Thank you for joining us. Head to filthycasuals.com.au. Get on the Patreon. Support the show.
Yes.
Get a bonus extra hour of content from us every week, plus all sorts of
At
extra
least.
bonus stuff that we do
Exactly.
throughout the month.
Yes, we just did another special zone.
Yep.
Adam told us the history of game emulation, which we've already got some great feedback for. Some fellow game nerds have been loving that one. It was very fun.
Hey, they could be game jocks. We
could-
don't know.
That's true. They could be jock jams.
That's what I wear when I play them.
But yeah, also we just did our mailbag episode for October, which is becoming very much the highlight of my month, filthy casuals wise. It's always really fun to do. So yeah, all of that stuff at filthycasuals.com.au.
Yeah, check it all out. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals...
It's not even a Nintendo game. I was going to do a Nintendo music app thing, but I picked it's associated with them, but it's not.
Yeah, it might
wouldn't
be on there.
It
No,
could
it wouldn't?
be.
Okay.
Hey,
I doubt it.
at least it won't be credited.